UN staff who returned and were taken to one of the hotels which did not meet the hygiene and sanitation requirements. Some of the rooms never had water, others were not flushing, others were like prison rooms without any view. Because if you are going to be quarantined in a place, you should be able to have access to fresh air so that your health is also kept in a good environment. Madam Speaker, when the UN staff raised complaints about the facility.
But shouldn't you raise that when the minister comes to respond?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I thought I should put this because when the UN staff complained, it was raised as, it was forwarded to their headquarters in New York as a violation of country strategy to contain COVID. Now, that is overboard because this was just a question of the conditions under which people are quarantined, and therefore I thought it did not deserve to be raised to that level instead of addressing the concerns that were raised by the returnees. So the minister should really come and clarify this so that these people who are in quarantine are also not put to another psychological torture of thinking that their jobs are online. Thank you.
Okay, the Minister of Health should come and today is Thursday. One of them is supposed to be here to give us an update on the COVID situation. I hope they will come. So I want an answer today. If you are not available today, please come in on Tuesday. Honorable Sevagala.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, way back in the 9th Parliament, we amended the Financial Institutions Act, which opened doors for Islamic banking. And indeed, it became an act. Madam Speaker, ever since then, we have been getting various explanations, especially now in this 10th Parliament, about Islamic banking and its progress. Madam Speaker, we are informed by Bank of Uganda that regulations were supposed to be made, and even Minister of Finance. And sometime back, Madam Speaker, when I raised this issue, the Minister of Finance informed us that they are almost done. Madam Speaker, we are almost ending the 10th Parliament. And yet, many people down there are waiting for this extraordinary product of Islamic banking. And given the fact that now COVID has affected us economically, Madam Speaker, Islamic banking could be the best ideal in as far as boosting our economy is concerned. Madam Speaker, through you, I would like to know what has hindered the implementation of Islamic banking, yet even when the President goes outside in as far as inviting investors, he has been telling them, especially the Arab world and others who are so much interested in Islamic banking, that everything is set. And yet, up to now, we have not seen any development or any bank that has started giving out this product, which is of great beneficial to all Ugandans. Madam Speaker, we would like, through your office, to know what has hindered the implementation and also the opening up of Islamic banking, which is going to assist many Ugandans in as far as our economy is concerned.
Honourable members, as you recall, yes, it is true we made the law on Islamic banking, and I do recall that the minister actually came here and said the regulations had been done, but he has never led them here. He talked about it but not led the regulations. So the Minister of Finance is required to lay the regulations on Tuesday because several months ago he said that they had been done. So let him lay them on Tuesday next week. Honorable Franca, 2 minutes. Franca Kelo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the matter I would like to raise as a matter of national importance is about monies that were disbursed to schools for operation. The grants that are sent to schools for operations were sent, the ones for the last quarter, the fourth quarter was sent, but immediately Ministry of Finance followed with a circular stopping them from using that money. And yet schools, not just there is no schooling going on because of the COVID-19, the schools are supposed to be cleaned and a lot of other activities have got to go on. So these monies, these grants that are meant for operations are not in use. They were not able to use them. So I wanted to find out from the Ministry of Finance, where is that money going to go? And the fourth quarter is already ended. You have stopped the schools from using the money. The head teachers of schools would like to know why they have not been authorized to use the money and where is the money going. Honorable Olanya.
Thank you, Honorable Franca, for giving me way. Right Honorable Speaker, the matter Honorable Franca is raising is very important. Right now, Right Honorable Speaker, most of the schools are so busy. And the circulars, the letters that were given to 8 teachers, the cows, to stop the 8 teachers from accessing the funds. Right now, most of the schools are begging members of parliament to help them so that they slash the school compound. Right Honorable Speaker, yes, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Let the ministry take it very seriously. Thank you, Honorable Franca, for giving way.
So, thank you so much for that information. In summary, Madam Speaker, I see a lot more members of parliament want to give information. That means it cuts across everywhere. So we wanted to request the ministry to clearly come before this house and explain the whereabouts of the monies they are stopping the schools from using. Because some schools actually have structures to be renovated, and this would be the right time for them to carry out or to conduct such kind of renovations or whatever other activities that would be used using the money, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honourable members, you recall that one of our colleagues, I think the Honourable Bombwa, came here with a picture of anthills that had grown into were eating up a school. Honourable Samba. So, honourable members, the government, many of the structures are government buildings where we have spent money to build them, and if they are being damaged and no one is caring. Anyway, first we want to know, the money was stopped. Where is it? And I wrote to the finance minister. Does the Minister of Education know what happened to the money?
Madam Speaker and honorable members, as raised by the 2 colleagues, it is indeed true that this particular facility that should help our schools to maintain cleanliness is no more. Madam Speaker, this is an issue that requires an explanation from the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, because in a circular to all accounting officers, the Minister of Finance indicated clearly that they will not be sending money meant for schools until schools reopen. So I would think the ministry should be tasked to explain, because it is an issue that was also discussed in the top management of the Ministry of Education and Sport yesterday. We also took it up at the ministry's level to raise it with the Ministry of Finance. Now that it is before Parliament, and now that they even communicated in writing to accounting officers, it would be important for them to explain. But it is indeed a necessity that we must go with, whether schools are open or not open, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, we require the Minister of Finance to come on Tuesday. And yes, Honourable Shave.
Madam Speaker, thank you very, very much. Madam Speaker, you may recall that this week I raised a matter to deal with reallocation by Operation Wealth Creation officials of the budget we passed here as Parliament. Now the Minister is telling you, or is telling us, that they have already received circulars on which items they deemed less important. Madam Speaker, I think this matter needs to be before all this goes on, because very many important items, according to Operation Wealth Creation, they are not important, but Parliament deemed them very important. Madam Speaker, I think it's high time the Minister of Finance comes back here, and as Parliament we get to know which items were written off, which items were deemed less important, and which items were prioritized. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Of course, we require an explanation. Quickly, Honourable Sungu.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity. What I'm seeing is the Minister of Education running away from his own responsibility of fighting for his own money. Honourable Speaker, when you talk about capitation grant in the UPE school from Kalungu, Namwendwa, Kabong, this is just almost 1 million per term. And once this money is not remitted, actually banks will close the accounts of these schools. Because after 5 months, that will mean that these are non-performing accounts. That's what's happening. The accounts are not performing. So what is required? Madam Speaker, last week here, the Honourable Minister asked the teachers, head teachers, to withdraw 30,000 to slash schools. He said it, Honourable Obua, my good friend. So the issue here, the Minister of Education must come out clearly to defend their ministry. Why don't they get their money? This money must be at school. Because even then, during UPE time, when they deliver these funds late, it does not go to its natural use as is required by the law. So our interest is getting money at schools. Head teachers should be monitoring schools and put back the schools into normal, at least some cleaning with the little funds they are getting, meanwhile preparing. Actually, Madam Speaker, by now, Minister of Education to be giving us the program they have put up in case COVID is unlocked. How will we go back to schools? How will children go back to school? Shall we give them food to keep at school? Because the things have changed. But the Minister is saying finance, yet they all sit in the cabinet. I beg to move, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, the Minister of Finance must come and explain first what happened to the money and where it is. Secondly, we would want to know what changes have been effected on the budget which we passed, so that we can understand what the government is doing by going behind our back to adjust the budget without coming here. So on Tuesday, Honourable Minister, we want answers to those issues. Honourable item 3, Honourable Gafabusa.
Item number 3, presentation of petitions by members of Matongo Lost Land Recovery Families Organization.
Not here. 3.2.
Item 3.2, presentation of petition by border operators in Kalero District.
Honourable Kenneth. Honourable Kenneth.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I thank you for according me this opportunity to present a petition by the border operators in Kalero District to the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, presented under Rule 30 of our Rules of Procedure. Right Honourable Speaker, your humble petitioners are citizens of our motherland, Uganda, some of whom are graduates but have failed to find jobs for which they were trained, who honestly exercise their duties and lawfully work to earn a living under the harsh economic conditions, who in exercise of their constitutional rights address their grievances to this House, to this Parliament, as follows. Your humble petitioners, Right Honourable Speaker, state that they are lawful and responsible citizens.
You are reading the whole petition.
Right Honourable Speaker, if you may grant me, they submitted 10 grounds.
Subject and the prayers.
I may submit only on 2 or 3. Just 2.
No,
Then I got
honour
the-
members, we have rules.
Okay, just the very last one and then the prayer. Right Honourable Speaker, your humble petitioners state that they have patiently and painfully observed other transporters like taxis and bicycle riders carry out their trade and start to live a fairly normal life, but unfortunately, your petitioners are still locked up, hungry, stressed, falling sick, their dignity eroded, and tempted into habits they must avoid, and therefore submit to this House as follows. The prayers are as follows. That the government opens up the business of border operation and permits your petitioners to carry passengers up to a distance of not exceeding 40 kilometers from their stations while observing applicable operating procedures. 2, your petitioners pray that government takes up the interest on loans that has accrued on the loans they incurred when acquiring the motorcycles for the period from March up to the time of opening up their trade. 3, that in event that government is not opening up their trade in the next 7 days, that government should supply them with food to enable them feed their families and save their wives, some of whom are pregnant, and their children who are starving. And 4, that in the operators were tempted to breach any of the standard operating procedures to avoid that were impounded and all cases which were opened against them, that they should be to have the cases dropped and their motorcycles released. I thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Wago. Honourable members, as you heard the prayers, these are the prayers that came in from the border countrywide, honourable members. So I want to send it to the Minister of Works. He already has the other petitions. So what require it, and he has been quiet. We require, but the other minister is here, the Minister of Works. Yes, Minister of Works, we have a number of petitions which were sent to your ministry from this industry. I don't know if you are ready or we give you a timeline to come and respond, because the country is waiting. And the more you keep quiet, the more petitions come. Yes?
Right, Honourable Speaker. I think I must thank our colleague to have brought this matter. The incident that took place recently where a border rider put himself ablaze and died in Masaka is a very serious matter. And Right Honourable Speaker, we have heard of borders who have been beaten and killed by LDUs. And you are aware, Right Honourable Speaker, we are leaders in this country, that one of the greatest challenge that the government is facing and the country is facing is youth unemployment. And the border has been giving opportunity for these youth to be engaged, to look after themselves, feed their families. But now you have denied over 2 million youth from having their daily meals. Right, Honourable Speaker, this is a very serious matter and it cuts across. I have so many borders in Dokolo who are asking me where they should go for posho and beans, and I cannot help them.
No, members, we have
Madam
that
Chair,
has been here many times.
Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, the issue of borders is a national-wide concern, Madam Speaker, because almost 95% of their income comes from carrying a passenger. Without a passenger, a border cannot really operate. And finally, Madam Speaker, We have so many border at various police posts and stations. To get out that border, you pay 100,000, more than 100,000, or above 50,000. Madam Speaker, right now, many of them have, many of these borders have been confiscated, that they don't have third party, they don't have ABCD, yet these people are not working. Madam Speaker, the earlier we do it and ensure that borders are on the road, Madam Speaker, the better, because they employ 1 million people, and behind 1 million people, they have 90 million dependents. Madam Speaker, we need to act right now.
Honour members,
Madam Speaker.
Last week, I read here a petition from Kira, the borders of Kira. I read another from Nasana. I've read so many on the floor of this house. And many of them really are saying the same thing. But the Minister of Works is silent. I know you used to be a border.
There is an element, Madam Speaker,
Okay.
which is not to the Minister of Works, that these border riders, although they were allowed to carry cargoes and things like that, they are being beaten. And their border are being confiscated at stages in many parts of the country. And this has been a public outcry. So there is another element which is to do with security, and which security needs to look into, as to whether the policemen have been given the directives to beat them, even when they are just carrying their cargoes, or when they are just parked at stages where they are supposed to be. And that has come up as a matter of serious concern, especially from my constituency, Madam Speaker.
Honour Babala.
Madam Speaker, I'm speaking as a former border man. And I remember last year I brought a petition here. We had a motion in the House. We debated, and I am sure that a committee of government was established. And that committee was supposed to report to the House on the plan on how to manage border business or industry in this country. Since that time, I have not had any glimpse of any report concerning the issue of helping my friends, my colleagues, border men in this country. That's why you find all these problems are taking place, because the government promised to bring a comprehensive plan, which the plan up to now, Madam Speaker, has not been brought to this House. That's why the Minister of Works was supposed to be there. I remember Minister for Kampala, Security, Trade, all of them were supposed, that committee had been established, but unfortunately, I need to be helped in terms of procedure, whether we're proceeding well, because the ministers promised, that was last year around July, and today is again in July. That's 1 year down the road. And they promised 6 months. Unfortunately, they have not come. Madam Speaker, I need to, via rules of procedure, I want you to help us so that we sort this matter out once and for all.
Let's hear from the Minister quickly. Minister. Honour members,
Madam Speaker, I just wanted to bring to the attention of the House that actually there is selective application of this policy of stopping borders from carrying passengers. In some areas, borders are carrying passengers and the police are doing nothing. I think there is some sort of bribing going on. Now, the other issue, Madam Speaker, is that amidst this COVID, there should be an intervention from the Minister of Finance in a way of engaging this in another activity. And there is money. This Parliament has just passed a budget which has gone to Microfinance Center. Why can't we get this money and we engage these people in doing something if borders cannot operate at this time? Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank my colleague for bringing the petition. However, with the case of border at the 40 locked district or the border district like Busia, it is a very different case. That even seen riding a motorbike looks to be like a crime. And therefore, Madam Speaker, it is my prayer that I think it is high time we better allow the borders to work, because there is no difference of sitting the taxi people who are sitting in Kampala, almost 14 now, than a border carrying a person who is protected well with a mask. And good enough, in Busia they gave masks. that are enough for riders and the passengers. I therefore urge government that they better open up our lockdown districts so that our people can move freely and be part of Uganda. Because as I talk now, coming out of Busia is a serious problem, Madam Speaker. And being a problem, the border borders are suffering. That's why you see in Busia every day there is demonstration and there is tear gas. Because people have been suffocated and they are seeing that they have no way to express their pain. I therefore request, Madam Speaker, that let the border borders be allowed to work, let the taxis even on the borders be allowed to work, and let this so-called lockdown stop on the border district so that we can be part of Uganda. We are not part of Uganda.
Yomoki quickly and then Kenneth.
Come on,
Kenneth and then...
quickly.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, we cannot afford to ignore the issues of border borders anymore. And Madam Speaker, I don't know why the Ministry of Health ignored developing SOPs for border borders as well so that they are able to operate. Madam Speaker, ideally, if a border border is putting on an element and is putting on a mask and the passenger is also dressed in a similar way, I think this should be healthy enough for them to operate. The situation, Madam Speaker, is terrible, especially even in constituencies that are rural. A majority of families have been earning living from the border borders. The crime rate is going high because people have failed to get what to do. So we want to implore the Ministry of Health that please develop SOPs as soon as possible, evaluate them, and make sure that the border borders are also allowed to operate. If we can allow the taxis and the buses, what about the border borders? These are part of the society, and they are our people. And they are all the time calling, we have nothing to eat, our families are sick. So, Madam Speaker, this issue must be treated with the utmost urgency it needs because it is putting the lives of so many families at risk. Ministry of Health must take up the mantle and make sure that the border borders are given an opportunity also to earn a living. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Madam.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Let's hear the voice and then finally here.
The border borders have been raising this matter for a long time, and they are organized because they have a national union that organizes all the border borders. And they have raised this matter to the relevant authorities. They have even put into place measures and proposals under which they can operate without undermining the precautionary measures. And from the medical point of view, already my colleague has analyzed that it's possible to have these border borders operate without undermining the measures that were put in place. I was proposing that the relevant authorities, including the ministry, should immediately engage with these border borders. First of all, they should be able to put into place what we have been suggesting, but also with the leadership. Because they are organized both nationally but also locally. And therefore, there is no reason why we should be continuing to not to intervene, because otherwise we shall be able to push them into reactions that might not be necessary. So my prayer is that there should be engagement immediately with the leadership, and they agree on measures that already this sector has already proposed, and it's a matter of just agreeing and harmonizing. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
But, Honourable Members, I think we should hear from the Minister. You know, 1 month ago, the Minister of Works was on the floor of this House, and he said they had started engaging. 1 month ago. Where is the Minister gone?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Yeah, Right Honourable Speaker, as the Minister comes, Right Honourable Speaker, you guided so well when my colleague presented the petition. Right Honourable Speaker, the petition should apply to the whole country. As I talk now, Right Honourable Speaker, my border association of Amoro are organizing their petitions. They asked me to bring the petition by next week. It means the problem of border is countrywide. Right Honourable Speaker, I also do recall His Excellency directed Honorable General Katumba Wamala to give the guidelines on how the boda should operate. And up to now, General Katumba Wamala has never guided, has never mentioned anything about the operation of boda. Therefore, many of the bodas are on loans. For example, those ones in my district, Amoro, many of them are on loan, and right now they have taken 4 to 5 months without working, and very many of them are running away. Right, Honorable Speaker, the issue of boda should be settled once and for all, and it's very serious, right, Honorable Speaker.
Quickly, Honorable Kisa, very quickly, Mitoma, then the minister should come and tell us what you and General Wamala are doing about this issue.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm speaking about something nasty which happened this Monday. 2 boda men were riding with the passengers behind, and immediately they saw the police patrol. They tried to speed off in order to avoid them, but the police patrol followed them, and eventually these people got in a very nasty accident because of fearing police chasing them, yet they are trying to look for means of survival, Right Honourable Speaker. And I think in the interest of this country and this particular group of people who are looking for something to eat, the government should do everything possible in the right time to ensure that these people are allowed to operate. Some of them, as you hear, they are committing suicide and etc. People are dying in accident because they want to escape from police. So I support the petition in its entire totality so that the boda people are looked into. Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Mitoma, finally, and then Minister of Works.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I also want to join my colleagues in commending the petition, and it is really timely. A lot has been said. Most of these bodas just earn a little money for the day, and they have families. And when the government, understanding their situation, undertook to distribute food, we thought that they were going to reach all of them, but this was not the case. So they are there, they are hard up. And because there are no standard operating procedures, some of them in the villages there are actually carrying people. You find them carrying 2-3 people. But if there were standing operating procedures, they are required to carry 1 person, they are required to have face masks, I am sure that they would be able to behave, because really they need a living. Right Honourable Speaker, let me also say that we all know that the putting them on hold has been very necessary. So we want to say thank you to His Excellency the President, because this saved us from having the COVID going into the communities. The other day I was discussing with my people, and they said, you see, some of these bodas, for them they can go through Panya and cross borders, and it would have been easy to import the disease through them. But now we understand, we have more understanding of how this disease moves and how we can control it. So there is no more justification now for making these bodas go without a livelihood. So I want to join my colleagues. Can I receive information, Right Honourable Speaker?
No, Honourable Members.
So I want to join my colleagues in urging the government to, yes, we need standard operating procedures. We do not want to say that they should just be allowed to operate en masse. No. So let the standard operating procedures be put in place. Let them be regulated, but let them be allowed to work, because they need to make a living. I thank you.
Minister of Works.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. There was one question that we have all failed to understand and to try and see what we can do about it. The question of a boda picking someone who is infected and taking them deep inside the communities anywhere. The borders are the only means of transport that can reach anywhere inside the communities. Where a motor vehicle can't reach, where the distance a person can't walk, a border will take somebody and get them deep inside the communities. And we are looking at infecting the communities. So that question was put before us, and we are trying to look for answers. This is the question the president put before us, and we are looking for answers. Members, come with answers.
Point of order.
Don't give me order. Give me a way forward.
No.
Point of order.
You take the point of order.
Point of order.
Point of order, Honorable Gogo.
Point of order. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the Minister of Works has stated before this House that the borders are the only means of transport that can reach deep inside the countryside. Right Honourable Speaker, we know that people are traveling using taxis and so on and so forth. They reach where they go, and there are other means of transport, including the bicycles. People are walking distances, and you cannot stop them from walking those distances. I want to tell you that there are very few places in Uganda where a taxi drops somebody in a distance that he cannot walk. Most of them, they are accessible places where somebody can walk. There is nothing for you to advance saying that the borders are the only ones to reach people to where they are going. Right Honourable Speaker, bearing in mind that bicycle riders are actually operating, that the taxis are operating, that other commercial vehicles are operating, is the minister in order to state that the borders are the only means of transport that can take people deep into the country, even when they can walk on their feet and reach their homes? You can add.
No, Honourable Minister, I think the government should find better reasons. The reasons you are giving are no longer relevant. They are not. I don't know whether you are aware that actually when the lockdown started, people walked.
Yes.
They walked from Kampala to their homes.
Yes.
They walked. Maybe you are not aware. You know, so...
Procedure,
and
Madam
also,
Speaker.
I don't know.
Madam Speaker.
In other places, in other countries where they've done that kind of a lockdown, they have provided food.
Yes.
Madam Speaker.
They have provided food. They have provided food. What have you provided the border? You are sitting and deciding your question. What have you provided for the border? Do you ever think how they live? How do their families live? How do they eat? What's happened to them? Do you know?
Madam Speaker.
Anyway, you are required to come here with the action taken report under Rule 17. Your minister was here 1 month ago and said he has started engaging. We want answers about the special operating procedures.
Madam Speaker.
Item 4.
Item number 4, statement by Minister on the evaluation of government's response to COVID-19 pandemic.
Minister of Health. They have all disappeared. Item 5.
Item number 5,
Item
responses
5.
by ministers. Item 5A, Minister of Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees.
Internal Affairs.
Item 5B, Minister of Internal Affairs.
They are not here.
Item C, Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs.
Defense is not here.
Item Minister of Health.
Procedure.
Item D.
Procedure, Madam
Minister
Speaker.
of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
Procedure, Madam
And
Speaker.
Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Procedure, Madam
They
Speaker.
are not here.
Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
They are not here.
5G, Minister of Water and Environment.
Are they here?
Item 5H, Minister of Works and Transport.
Yes, item H, please. Let us, we need to answer members' questions. You answer quickly, we're running out of time. No, wait. Let's get the answers from the Minister of Works. You are in
Item
work.
5H, Minister of Works
You are in the
and
Ministry of
Transport.
Works. Take the floor, take the podium. You know, honourable members, some time back I asked the Prime Minister, can you print a new chart so that we know which ministers have gone where? It hasn't come. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I have to respond to 3 questions here, and they follow each other. I would first, Right Honorable, wish to respond to the question raised by James Buturo on the need to urgently rectify the incident-prone spots along the Kabale-Kizoro Road. I am presenting this statement to inform Parliament on the assessment of the black spot at Kanaba Kabale-Kizoro Road. A technical team from the Uganda National Roads Authority was commissioned to undertake a road safety assessment for black spot following reports of repeated total crashes occurring at Kanaba along Kabale-Kizoro Road. The site assessment was conducted from 2nd to 3rd July 2020. Right Honorable Speaker, the objective of the assessment was to identify the safety concerns so that measures can be put in place to prevent similar occurrences of crashes in the future. Findings: the black spot is located in Kanaba sub-county, Kagano village, which is approximately 65 kilometers from Kabale town along the Kabale-Kizoro Road. The following measures are going to be implemented. Some of them are being done now. At the black spot, the curve will be clearly delineated with adequate warnings and chevrons and signs, and markings including cat's eyes to alert motorists at the tight curve. Rubber strips will be installed on the approach lane to slow down traffic as it approaches the curve. The damaged guardrail will be replaced with a heavy-duty guardrail that will be able to restrain any vehicles that may veer on the road, and speed limit size of 50 kilometers shall be installed 100 meters ahead of the curve on either approach to the tight curve. Traffic police will be advised to enforce the speed limits regularly by stationing their officers at the tight curve. The super elevation of the horizontal curve will be improved during periodic maintenance or rehabilitation of the road to ensure that the centrifugal forces at the curve are adequately counterplaced. Conclusion: the crash data received from the officer in charge, Kizoro Police Post, indicates that 20 lives have been lost since 2017 at the same spot, out of which 5 were lost just in June. The findings from the site visits indicate the motorists involved in the crashes usually fail to safely negotiate the curve. The curve is very constricted and is located after a slope from which motorists who come speeding swerve off the road and eventually crash. The road geometry of having a vertical curve that leads into a horizontal curve within the same location, as was dictated by hilly terrain of the area. So that is, the road is really, it curves so much, and therefore a lot is being done. Even people are on site now, as I speak. The second one is a question about the roundabout.
Is Honorable Sava here? Do you have a supplementary? Nabuturo? No supplementary. Okay, go to the next one.
Honorable Speaker,
H2 now.
on the 8th sitting of the first meeting of the 5th session of the 10th Parliament of Uganda held on 24 June 2020, One Kisembo Busemera, MP Kibale, raised concern over the removal of roundabout on the newly constructed Mbende Kakumiro Kibale Kagadi Road that has led to a spike in road accidents and attendant loss of lives. Honorable Speaker, the upgrading of Mbende Kakumiro Kibale Kagadi Road from gravel to bituminous paved road by a design and build contract is part of the National Roads Development and Maintenance Program. The project is being funded by the government of Uganda. The Mbende Kakumiro Kibale Kagadi Road, that is 107 kilometers, was previously a gravel road, except for a highly patched tarmac road on the first 3.4 kilometers in Mbende municipality. It is thus in Mbende municipality, transferred through Kakumiro and Kibale districts, and ends in Kagadi town, where it joins Chanjojo, Kaboya, Oimama Sindi, Kigumba Road. This road is also an alternative route from Kampala to the Albertine Graben. The road has been upgraded to Class 2 asphalt concrete carriageway of 3.5 wide lanes, plus 1.5 meters with surface raised shoulders. The road has been widened in town with wider shoulders of 2 meters. Major town of Mbende, Kakumiro, Kabale, and Kagadi have been provided with extra parking space on both sides of the road. Major junctions. The road has 5 major junctions, namely Mbende Kakumiro and Mbende Potpoto Junction Road, Mbende Roundabout Kakumiro Town to Buhimba Nya Lieyo Road Junction.
Maybe just name the road and tell us. Name the road and tell us what you have done.
Okay.
Yes.
They are all here. We have named the roads, and we shall be telling the Speaker what we have done. So we are saying now, these roads which we have said. One is the Mbende Kakumiro Road and Mbende Potpoto Road Junction. This was previously a T-junction with a small island for traffic separation. The junction was narrow, making it difficult to heavy and long vehicles to turn off from the Fort Portal Road to Kakumiro Road. It is now being widened to improve maneuverability of these vehicles. So it is becoming bigger. The current design is a T-junction with a separator island to direct traffic turning off the Fort Portal Road. The design of this junction was done in accordance with technical specification to limit inherent hazards and maintain acceptable traffic capacity. The layout and operation of the junction shall be completed with ability to aid the drivers with good visibility between conflicting movements. Mubende roundabout. This junction previously roundabout with a smaller turning radius, making maneuverability for big trucks and long vehicles very difficult. The roundabout has been upgraded and widened with a bigger turning radius that controls traffic of Mbende, Kakumiro Road, Main Street, and Nyakaima Way. Nyakaima Way, the three standard traffic signs will also be installed in addition to other speed calming measures like humps and humble strips. This will be completed by the end of September 2020. Karuguza roundabout. The junction was previously a white junction with several turnoffs to Karuguza town, Kibale bypass, and access to Buyuni Church. Traffic control and maneuverability by long vehicles and the trucks was difficult on this junction. It has been improved by turning it into a roundabout with a connection to Karuguza Road, Kibale bypass, and the main road. The southbound traffic from Kibale has been provided with a dedicated left lane for easy maneuverability. The Bujuni Church Road has also been connected to the main road on the outer side of the curve, which has better visibility. Roundabout was essential in order to control speed at this section due to connection to Karuguza, Buyuni Church, and the main road. Kibale District Headquarters Junction. The junction was previously a small roundabout with a very steep grade approach of 80% from Kakumiro side, while the Kibale District Headquarters to Kagadi Road was on flatter longitudinal grade. The heavy trucks from Kakumiro side would fail to restart if they stopped at the top and would roll backwards, making this junction dangerous. The junction has been reconstructed as a wide junction with channelized priority intersection at the junction to Kabale District Headquarters. The south approach to the junction is designed with a 7.5% slope, making maneuverability easy. The traffic from Kumiro heading towards Kagadi or Kibale district headquarters will be given priority against Kagadi to Kibale district. Therefore, the traffic from Kagadi to Kibale district headquarters or Kagadi to Kakumiro shall give way to all traffic from Kakumiro. Traffic from district headquarters shall give way to the traffic from Kagadi towards Kakumiro, as well as traffic from Kakumiro. Connectionalization with the will be done to ensure turning traffic are staying on their own lines, every line, so you know where to pass. Sunga Junction. Sunga Junction. This junction was previously a wide junction with narrow approaches and a steep grade from Kibale Road. It has been upgraded to a three-leg channelized priority intersection at the existing wide junction. The Kibale, Sunga, Kakumiro bound traffic will have priority against the Sunga Village Road. It will be complete with traffic calming signs, humps to control speed approach at the approach, safety consideration. The road safety audit was carried out for the whole road and the major junction at Kibale district headquarters. However, due to excitement of the motorists, the speed on the road has increased as the section from Mbende to Kagadi is now complete with asphalt. The construction of speed calming measures like safety amps and effective road signs is ongoing, including provision of splinter islands to allow smooth maneuvering by motorists. Speeds will be limited to 50 kilometers an hour in the towns and villages by providing speed control mechanisms of amps, signs, and raised pedestrian crossings. With these measures fully completed and functional by end of September 2020, the road will be much safer for all motorists. Madam Speaker, the proposed roundabout at Mbende, Karuguza, and priority junctions at Kibale and Sugar will be able to serve wide and long vehicles plus smaller vehicles without excessive encroachment to the shoulders of opposing lanes and maram turning effort. So they must move slowly. Furthermore, the current design in compliance with the Ministry of Works Transport Road Design Manual of 2010. The junctions, therefore, have been designed in accordance with the design specifications. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Semera. Any supplementary? Just one supplementary, Honorable Semera. Thank you, Minister, for this elaborate information.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the Minister. Allow me, Madam Speaker, lower a bit the mask to be able to talk properly.
Honourable members, now if we allow you to talk without them, the public is watching.
Okay, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the statement. However, Madam Speaker, I have issues. The junction that particularly we brought on this floor is the Kibale headquarters junction. Madam Speaker, the Minister in his statement agreed with what I submitted here, that the junction is a wide junction and extremely difficult to negotiate. Madam Speaker, last Friday, another accident took place. Our army officer, the head of Bubango Detach, got an accident on the same spot and both legs are broken. and as I'm talking is on the hospital. This continue to show that the junction is a terrible one, and if nothing is done, there will be a problem. Madam Speaker, when this issue was presented, you directed that the minister and his team visits the spot and assesses the situation and reports back. Our prayer was that we reintroduce a roundabout on this spot, given that it is prone to accidents. Madam Speaker, if you would allow me, with me I have a letter that was written by the area member of parliament for Buyanya, who is the Minister of Finance, Honorable Matia Kasaija. This is dated April 11, 2018. He was still talking about this junction. And Madam Speaker, if you allow me, just to read 3 paragraphs verbatim, so that I can show the gravity of the problem, and then we don't underrate it, because it is posing a risk to all Ugandans who are going to be using this road. Madam Speaker,
must you read this?
Because I will lay it on table, Madam Speaker. But in this letter, the Honourable Minister and area MP was proposing, given the twists and turns on that junction, we would divert traffic and create, there is a road that is between Katerere and Kikonge. That would avoid all the other corners, and it would make it a straight path to continue without having all those issues. And this was not attended to. My prayer, Madam Speaker, since the minister has not told us whether it is not possible to reintroduce the roundabout, he only described the design that is on the ground at the moment. I pray that they reconsider the roundabout, but also we are giving them another option, that they can consider making the 2.5 kilometer, around 2 kilometers from Karuguza roundabout, which you mentioned, the Karuguza junction. You move straight from that Katerere to Kikonge. We will avoid all those turns, otherwise we have 2 accidents, Madam Speaker, in a span of 2 weeks. This we cannot underrate, and I think it is posing a risk to all Ugandans who are going to be road users of this road. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Samera, the minister's letter includes a request for a roundabout and an alternative route?
Yes.
Okay, please lay them on the table, and the clerk will formally send them to the Minister of Works.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
I
Minister,
beg to lay.
Are you also dealing with the accident in the water? Okay. But summarize, eh?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I beg to say, Madam Speaker, some of these things are a bit factual. It's not easy to summarize. You can allow me just to say investigation, leaving the addressing who brought it. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Works and Transport conducted an investigation into the incident of MP Tambler, which was completed on 18th February 2019. The Ministry of Works and Transport is aware of the delay to submit the final report of findings and investigation, because we waited for appropriate moment to present the update, because people were still looking at problems bringing this. But, Madam, we are just begging that even if we delayed, we were doing something so that it is tangible. The findings: the MP Tambler sank at latitude 0 by 11 minutes 30 north, longitude 32 degrees 40 by 40 minutes east. Tambler sank rapidly at 20 hours on 24th November 2018, when water entered in its lower deck holds. The rapid nature of the sinking was worsened by a shift in passengers on board as the vessel listed beyond 30 degrees angle of vicinity stability. The modification made to the hull of the vessel. This was carried out at an improvised slipway besides the beach without professional supervision. The whole are the feasible patches of metallic plates replaced by welding. The other one is tumbler main deck floor are the concrete finish of 60 millimeter thick with an estimated surface area of 55 square meters. The material is not used anywhere in the world for vessel construction or maintenance. So they want to modify it. M. Tumbler did not have any functioning communication system to make a distress alert call for to facilitate timely and coordinated rescue operations. The main engine, rated at 154 kilowatts or 206 horsepower, and propulsion system were non-functional, and the modification improvised were by attaching two outboard engines at the stem with this professional rating at the engines, that is 115 horsepower and 90 horsepower respectively, just hanging there. The skipper's decision-making process was influenced by the owner's professional determination to succeed. Hence, the skipper, that is the driver who drives that thing, they call it a skipper, abandoning the vessel, and then the owner opted for an inexperienced boat operator to act as a skipper. So the driver said, this is bad. Then the owner said, no, you can go, get another one. Let's go. There was no qualified crew member or members on board the vessel. So there was no possibility to organize the operation for abandonment from the vessel. The Templar was undermanned. That's one person, crew member on board. Hence, inadequately prepared to deal with emergencies. One crew member could not control the crowds of over 50 people who are running around when they saw danger. Inspection and survey of the vessel. The vessel was operated without inspection and survey by the Ministry of Works and Transport. The modifications carried out were not approved by the flag state, that's bearing the flag of the state, that is Ministry of Works. MP Templar lacked life-saving appliances for passengers it had on board at a time of accident. This increased the severity of the incident, as there was no personal floating device. Honorable Speaker, it should be noted that the conclusion drawn in this report aimed to identify the different factors which contribute to the accident or incident. They are not intended to point finger pointing anywhere. MP Tumbler's modifications were done without taking into account inequality, safety, stability, standard maritime laws, or ground shipmanship practice that caused the vehicle stability and buoyancy to be compromised. And when water started to ingress through the holes, holding spaces, it caused the vessel to sink fast. We recommend that our ministry, we must track these issues in order to save future lives. Ministry of Works should ensure where major alterations and repairs that modify the structural soundness or character of the vessel are made. The vehicle, if in the future, should comply with Lake Victoria Transport Act of 2007. We must conduct regular inspections and surveys, and issue relevant certificates like seaworthiness certificate and manning certificates. We should also conduct scoping exercise to identify safety issues pertaining to passenger cruise ships or domestic voyages in Uganda and must do it accordingly like that. So we also want to have a training institute to train these crewmen. At the moment, we are getting money to go and establish a campus at Namasagali, which is an affiliate to Buzitema University, so that we get skilled people in the future. And all the vehicles transporting more than 12 people must be equipped with all this, because these are many people, and that's what the law says. The government of Uganda should acquire rapid response equipment for search and rescue, including oil spill cleanups, since we are thinking of oil in the future. The Joint Research and Rescue Committee should be revitalized to ensure coordinated search and rescue exercise for future occurrences. The Ministry should strengthen the Department of Maritime Administration by providing adequate financial resources in order to enhance the functions of inspection. We must do registration and licensing regime with safety awareness programs, because this has taught us really we must do everything and follow laws the way they should be. The Minister, as a matter of policy, should address the issues of counterfeit jackets. Some jackets are not to the standard. Even water can go through, so that we get the good ones. So we have to get the police for enforcement. At times people overload boats, and those cause problems. What are we doing, Honorable Speaker? We have the bill, that is the Inland Water Transport Bill 2020. The bill was cleared by Cabinet and is published in the Gazette. We shall bring it here to you for debate and endorsement. Accession, we must assent to different treaties concerning water transport. We have already 8 in place, which will, because these have been assented. So the others, I think I can leave the memorandum of understanding which we should be doing. So, Madam Speaker, the training institute should be funded and we start to go. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Karwanga, are you there? Any supplementary? Honor Minister, I want you to assure you that during this budgeting process, money was appropriated for that Marine Institute. So it's up to you now to move. The money is there. Yes, that one I can confirm it is there. Honorable Karwanga, very quickly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, it's quite unfortunate that Madam Speaker, it's quite unfortunate that we are getting such statements that seems to be not working for the people that are concerned. Whatever has been aired out by our minister is quite unfair, because you cannot come out from here and you tell people that we are now going to start when people have lost their lives. Madam Speaker, my questions were very clear. I came out with a statement and I told you that if it's true that the ministry licensed this boat and these people died, is the ministry ready to compensate for those families that lost their beloved one? Secondly, the report they are giving us, we are getting other information, but we just wanted to balance that of the ministry and that of those people that are giving us information. First of all, the owner died. Right now, you're telling us, you're not even mentioning the number of people that exactly died on that boat. So it means you sat down, you got us a mandatory report, and for us to take it. We should not pretend as if we are from heaven. Let's come out with a clear information of whatever happened. We lost our people, and we want to know what exactly was behind it. Madam Speaker, I'm not contented with this report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I think we shall have to think further and see what else can be done. Other members, we have used more than 1 hour of the private members' time. Let's go back to the National Coffee Bill.
The National Coffee Bill, Bills Committee stage. Clause 22.
And the members' question is that clause 22 do stand part of the bill. Is the chair here? Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I saw it. Oh, isn't that where they were? Yes. Now, yesterday when we adjourned, we asked the minister, the chair, and the stakeholders to meet and see how we can organize the composition of the board of the authority. No, it wasn't 22. It was the board, the composition of the board. It was the composition of the board.
Clause 14.
Clause 14.
You want? Thank you, Madam Chairperson. As you guided yesterday, we were able to sit with the ministers and we agreed that the board composition should be 9 members so that we delete Ministry of Local Government representative, we delete Ministry of Agriculture representative, and also we delete 1 farmer representative, so that we remain with the chairman, representative of Ministry of Finance, representative of Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, representative of NARO, because NARO is very important for research and coffee production is all about research. Then we have representative of coffee farmers, 1, representative of coffee processors, 1, representative of coffee exporters, 1, representative of coffee roasters, 1, and then the managing director, UCDA. I beg to move.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yesterday, we advised by the chair of the committee that a third of the representatives of the board are to be women. Madam Speaker, we wanted the women to be on the board, but we concede and agree that in the clause 3 of the bill, we insert the following words after the word women. Drawn from a recognized Women Coffee Association. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker.
No. Now, honour members, supposing the representative from trade is a woman, does she fall here or does she not? You know, if you're just talking about the unions.
Madam Speaker, for technicality, because we wanted a woman who at least has been in this business and has the technical capacity. That is why we would prefer that drawn from a recognized Women Coffee Association.
No, what you could say, at least 1/3 of members of the board shall be women, including one from a recognized coffee association, instead of saying all of them should come from the coffee association.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam.
Madam Chair, I want to thank you.
Let's see whether the chair, the minister agrees that proposal before you come, or the chair. Let's hear from the mover. Or the chair, do you agree with the Honorable Combas, what we have also amended? Maybe you're still consulting?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, initially what has been happening is that from these constituencies, which I could call Ministry of Finance, whenever names are sourced, they request for a name of one male and one female. So is for NARO, and so is for Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives, and even the farmers and the rest. So that is where they have been getting the 3/3, the 1/3 from. Because now if we say we get it from a women organization, I am not so sure which one specifically we should bring on board. So I beg that we support this position, unless if the ministers advise.
Yes, Honorable Nandala.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, to begin with, we want to thank the Minister for conceding to 9. That's a good idea, that we're moving to cut costs. But having said that, the categories have been clearly stated. One, farmers, roasters, processors, and the coffee exporters. Now, usually coffee exporters are companies. Processors are companies or associations. Roasters are the same. So I am getting worried. If we want to be clear about women, shouldn't it be that either we put a group of women here, coffee farmers who are women, or if we don't do that, then the minister should really agree with us to find out how we will be managing the process of women. Because if you say we should come from an organization of women, but the organizations of coffee have been clearly stated. So where do you really do that? That's where we're number one. Number two, so that the minister answers together. If you're aware, the managing director reports to the board. Reports to the board. Now you want to make a managing director a member what? A board member. If a managing director is reporting to the board, he is representing management of the authority to begin with. For good governance, he comes representing the management. And he comes to report to the board what management has done. Now you make him part of the board. Now he makes decisions which he goes and implements himself or herself. Can't you see governance issues there? Governance problem. So what I'm trying to put across is that since the MD is represented, he comes to the board to report on management, why should the MD be a board member? That's what I want to put across so that you answer both of them at a go.
So maybe we'll give the minister time to think.
Madam Chair, before the minister comes in.
On which one?
Madam Chair, on the issue of women. Madam Chair, when you look at clause 14.3, it says at least 1/3 of the members of the board shall be women. And I think the intention was to take care of that need. So out of the 9, 1/3 shall be women according to clause 14(3). So there is no need, Madam Chair, to create another category trying to take care.
Honour members, suppose you find that the person is from the government, the lady from trade is from government, the lady from finance is from government, the lady from Naro is from government. Who is speaking for the women coffee farmers? That's the issue which Honourable Komba is talking about. Who is speaking for the women coffee farmers? That's what we have to work on.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that clarity. I think that is what we should do as women. That is why I also want women to be part of this board. As the they have the technical capacity to represent women where they are down in the villages. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I wanted to clarify something, Madam Chair.
On the women?
Yes, on the issue of women. You know, this bill had been with us and we had done a lot of research all over the country. And we never interfaced with any women association coffee farmers. In fact, where we were going, we're finding farmers who were both men and women. So I am wondering where these associations are coming from. We went to Mbale, we talked to people of Bugisu Cooperative Union. They were both women and men. We went to the Western, we interacted with people of cooperative societies. They were both men and women. So I do not know of specific women associations that my sister is referring to here. I think we should not really lose focus on the point.
Members, I think let's do this. We are stood over it. So you be thinking, as we go to number 23, let's go to clause 23. You be thinking, clause 23. You be thinking, let's go to clause 23.
Clause
You share
23.
But on what side?
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Clause 23. We'll come back. We'll come back, please.
Is it clause 22?
23. I think we had left 22. We had made a small change there. Now 23. Questions are clause 23. Is there anything on 23? We finished that yesterday. We finished that. I think there is...
Madam Chairperson.
There's nothing on 23.
Madam Chairperson, clause 23.
Is there an amendment on 23?
Madam Chairperson, on clause 23, subsection 3, on the second line, I wanted to move that we replace is with shall be to read as follows. Subject to this act and to the general supervision and control of the board, the managing director shall be responsible for instead of is responsible for.
Okay, the members, that's a small amendment. I hope it's not offending anybody. Put the question that clause 23 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 23 as amended.
Questions that clause 23 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 24.
Put the question that clause 24. 24. Honorable Nandala.
Madam Chair, clause 24 is introducing a board secretary. I have looked at the Company Act, which talks about secretaries of the board and the company secretaries, and which I want to quote verbatim. Madam Chair, why I'm raising on this is that a board secretary in this context is being given only responsibilities, but we are not defining the qualifications of a what? A board secretary. Madam Chair, in the current laws, the board secretary is the one who keeps the seal. The board secretary, if I can copy from the Companies Act, it says, that is section 190 of the Companies Act, a secretary of a public company must be an advocate of the High Court, a person who by virtue of his or her holding or having held another position, or his or being a member of any other body appears to the directors to be capable of discharging his function, and it should be a member or is qualified to be a member of the Institute of Chartered Public Accountants in Uganda or Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators. Now, Madam Chair, in this current state, we are saying there shall be a board secretary. We are not prescribing the qualifications of a board secretary. I wanted to move an amendment to this that first, there shall be a board secretary who shall conform to section 190 of the Companies Act. The justification is that we must get a legal secretary, a secretary who has legal background and who can be able to advise the board in a better way under the management of the authority.
Does Minister, what's your...
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, according to the Companies Act, a board secretary is supposed to be an advocate. And if you read clause 1D, he's supposed to be providing legal advice on all activities of the authority. To give an example, Madam Chairperson, I was a board member in Uganda Wildlife Authority from 2012 to 2015. And the board secretary was the legal counsel to Wildlife Authority. So I don't see really where my brother should disagree with the proposition of the committee.
No, Honourable Member, you are now supporting him. He had said he wants to see the qualifications of the secretary, and you're also saying that indeed part of the work he does is the legal work. So he was supporting it.
Oh, sorry. No, he's sometimes a bad neighbor, that is why.
So did you actually state your proposal? Yes.
Madam Chair, I want to state one, that there shall be a board secretary, that's sub-clause 1. There shall be a secretary to the board. There shall be a secretary to the board. That's number 1. The person to be appointed, now it's clause 2. The person to be appointed secretary to the board shall be a qualified person as per the Companies Act, section 190. The justification is that we bring the whole section 190 in, but we can define it, Madam Chair, maybe I can say. A person to be appointed the board secretary shall be a person qualified as under section 190 of the Company Act and must be A, an advocate of the High Court, B, a person who, by virtue of his or her, holding or having held any other position, or his or her being a member of any other body appears to the directors to be capable of discharging those functions, and C is a member of or is qualified to be a member of the Institute of Chartered Public Accountants in Uganda or Institute of Chartered Secretaries, and yes, that's what it is in the Act, secretaries and administrators. The justification is to really ensure that we get a person who has a legal background and capable to represent the board at any particular time if issues of legal matters arise.
So if the secretary is defined under section 128 of the Companies Act, why don't we just say as provided for under Section 192 of the Companies Act?
Yes, as provided for under Section 190 of the Companies Act. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Yes, Honourable Minister.
Madam Chair, and the language itself, let's have one sentence. I accept to have one sentence that there shall be a secretary to the board appointed according to the Companies Act.
Appointed by the board?
Appointed by the board in accordance with the Companies Act.
Okay. Well, Section 92,
Section-
is something of the Companies Act.
That's right. Section 92 and
Okay. Honourable members, would the question that clause 24 be amended as proposed? Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 24 is amended.
Question that clause 24 is amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 25.
I put the question that clause 25 do stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 26.
Put the question that clause 26 do stand part of the bill.
Madam.
No.
I don't
Chair.
Madam, you have 26?
Yes.
Honourable,
26.
Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, in clause 26, the committee proposes that we amend the provision as follows. Delete the word unlicensing appearing at caption of part 4. Justification, registration and licensing should appear under parts for clarity. I beg to move.
Excuse me, Chair. Chair,
Yes, Honourable Mary Kavanda.
Chair, I also have a proposal that we delete subsection 2B.
2B, yes.
2B. The justification is that clause 2B, it's not practical. Since UCDA has no capacity on timely evaluation, which will cause delay on the works of the farmers. It may even create shortage. 2, the provision does not put into account the fact that land can be improved to make it suitable for growing coffee. 3, it has an effect of taking away the rights of the person to use the land as one wishes. I also have another proposal on 26 that we insert a new clause immediately after subsection 2 as follows: that where a person is registered as a coffee farmer in subsection 1, if that person is married, the registration of that person as a coffee farmer shall extend to that person's spouses. The requirement is that, the justification is that the requirement to extend the registration of a farmer to his or to her spouse to recognize women's rights and to ensure equitable sharing and decision making and the sharing of the resources. I beg to move.
Honourable Chair.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
26. Madam Chair, I want to associate myself with the amendment of Honourable Mary Kavanda of deleting 2B. Madam Chair, the ministry, even UCDA, cannot ask farmers that it will be a requirement for them to do soil evaluation when we very well know that in this country we only have 2 laboratories that can do that work. So, Madam Chair, that should be deleted, and farmers will be discouraged. We want them to do registration, but once we bring up complicated registration processes, Madam Speaker, it will be hard. Madam Speaker, on 2A, there is a requirement to even register those intending Madam Speaker, you cannot register people who are intending to grow coffee. We're having a challenge in 1A, the A, and I propose that we delete A from where it starts to, or shall have a proof of his or her intention to commence growing coffee within a period of 6 months, Madam Chair. We leave it that registration is for coffee farmers. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Minister, what do you say about the proposals to delete 26(2)B, which I also think would be a deterrent, because if it means if I have no certificate that you have cleared me, I cannot grow coffee. I need to wait for you to say
Right.
that now you can.
Right, Honorable. First of all, I want to agree with the issue of the chair, the issue of deleting licensing and licensing so that it is registration first and licensing is somewhere else because it is not for the farmers. 2, the 2B, we can delete it. I accept. Come again? Yeah, there is a provision where the minister is allowed, let alone in the bill, where the provision, where it is provided that minister will make regulations on the type, varieties, and areas to be grown, where coffee should be grown. So that one will cater for this.
What about the proposal that the registration of the spouse should also include the farmer should include the spouse?
We are going to areas which are not really part of this law, right, Honorable?
Hey.
Yeah, Mr. Minister, let me give you information.
Okay.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, it's not only the spouse. Take it an example. Your father gives you coffee, who was a registered farmer. So it should apply to inheritance. It should apply to where somebody buys. For example, I come and I buy your coffee farm. I should have the certificate that I'm a registered what? Coffee farmer. So these are things you should. So, Madam Chair, it is not only the spouse. What I wanted to also agree with Honorable Kawanda, one is to delete, okay, from where my brother Sambo began, is to delete the proof that you are going to grow. That one is not necessary. 2, those who inherit. 3, the spouses. And 4, even those who buy or who are donated to. The justification is that if I have got a farm already existing, then automatically I become a registered farmer. There is no need for me to start to apply that I've just bought this farm. And so, Mr. Minister, what we're trying to say, sorry.
Delete the...
I think that, Honorable, that is convincing. And in as far as registration is concerned, really, why should we take one person in a family? I think this is what we want to, what Honorable Kawanda wants to cure. That will go to 27?
Now, honour members, there was a proposal that 26(2)A be amended by removing all the words after registration. I don't know what the minister says about that. Or shall have proof of his or her intention.
Or she shall either be growing coffee at the time of registration. We stop there.
Shall be growing coffee at the time
Shall
of...
be growing coffee, shall be growing coffee at the time of registration.
So we
So the
remove word
intention-
either, and then remove also all that after registration. Is that okay?
That's okay, right, Honorable.
Then finally, the issue of the spouse and spouses. Okay, you draft and come back? Yes. Okay, I put the question that clause 26 be amended as proposed.
Madam Chair, but delete B.
We have deleted it.
You have deleted it?
Yes, deleted B and the other part.
So now the drafting is to add on those who shall add, like the spouse, the buyers, the
Yes.
inherited. Okay.
We have deleted 26(2)B entirely. We have partially deleted under 26(2)A. We have removed all the words, the word either, and also removed the words everything after or shall have. All those have been deleted. Then in the meantime, we await the final drafting of the issue of the spouses. So let's stand over that and then go to clause 27.
Madam Chair, I'd wanted to make a comment on that particular one on spouses. I thought the best way to treat it is to create a clear provision for what Honorable Nandala is trying to introduce. Leave the intended amendment by Honorable Mary to stand the way it is. We approve it. Then if we want anything on the transfers of ownership, let it be a standalone provision. That is my suggestion.
But the transfers are governed by the law of succession, isn't it?
This one, Right Honorable Chair, was to do with the registration. It looks like you register one person in the family. How will the wife come in? What about the one who is inheriting this property? You know, I think that is what Honorable Kavanda had in mind.
I think Honorable Kawanda was worried that if the main registered person dies, the others lose their rights. Because they are not registered.
Madam Chair, I understand what she is bringing on the board. The issue is about the sharing. Because there was a complaint here that sometimes, yes, after working in the garden, at the time of sale, you find that the men have the opportunity to access the money leaving behind the woman. That's why we are saying extend this registration to the spouse, so that even at the time of sharing, she's on the board. That is the issue. It's about sharing of resources.
But now, suppose the children also want to share.
Exactly.
What was the Minister?
Madam
what was the
Chair,
rationale for-
Honorable Silas is just making it confusing.
Honorable Minister, what was rationale for registration? What's the thinking behind the registration?
You want to bring problems in
so that we can understand how to move.
Right Honorable Chair, the rationale behind registration is traceability. Traceability is becoming a very important aspect in all areas, in all enterprises. The consumers want to know where the coffee comes from. They want to know where the fish comes from. They want to know where the sim comes from, and which variety, and all this and all that. Sometimes they even want to know the producers, and this is where the producers come in.
So, Minister, do they register me, the farmer, or they register my farm? Because the farm is the source. Are they registering me or the farm?
Yeah, Right Honorable, farms are not registered in our setting. As you know,
Information Minister.
it is the farmer.
Let me give you information.
And we want to bring on board farmers. By the way, Right Honorable, the other point on this one is as we talk now for coffee especially, some people all over the world, the buyers want to buy from the farmer. There are so many buyers now who want to buy, to skip the middlemen and buy from farmers.
Information, Mr. Minister.
So the farmers, this is the starting point where we get our farmers to be known officially.
Information.
Yes, please.
The information I want to give you, Madam Minister, we deal, some of us, in organic coffee. what happens, maybe Madam Chair, when you are certified as an organic farmer, the coffee which leaves your farm for the market will have your name tagged on it and the area it is coming from. What the minister is trying to say is that, yes, when you are registered, they will register that you have 2 acres of coffee, and when you produce your coffee, it comes tagged, and those are basically for organic farmers. Now, in this case, registering a farmer, maybe my worry is, there are 2, again 1. During the time of graduate tax, they would come and count the number of trees, then that will be the amount of graduate tax you must what? Pay. I'm not so sure here if you're also targeting to tax people according to, yes.
Honourable Minister,
Maybe we got 27.
Madam Chair, you raised a very important matter, and I thought the Minister should look into the wisdom you're asking it in. Madam Chair, the government and they are advising farmers to register their businesses, to do farming as a business. And in their little way, farmers are starting to think about registering a business. Because if I register a business, then my farm stops being in my name. They are farmers of that nature, Madam Speaker. You're raising a very important question. Should we focus this registration to the name of the farmer or to the farm? And focus, our opinion is information.
Honourable Otieno.
Thank you, Honourable Shabe, for giving way. The information I want to give is that if you look at clause 27, the details of what is captured or what's registered is extensively covered under 27. So under 26, we are simply, it's a principle that a farmer shall be registered. But the real principle, the real details of who is registered, those ones can be refined when we come to 27. Madam Chair, I would propose that when we're looking at those details, we handle them under 27, because 26 basically handles the principle that a farmer will be registered. Now, who this farmer is actually dealt with under clause 27, where we could look at the details, and we can, at that stage, the House is at liberty to prescribe who can be registered. Those ones we can now handle those details under 27, Madam Chair. That's the information I want to give to the House.
No, we had already said we have stood over 26 so that we get the drafting. Then we went to 27. That's where we are.
Madam Chair, Honourable Otieno, I gave him space for information, but he's trying to confuse us. The 27.3 is talking about, he's talking about contain particulars of each coffee farmer, not each coffee farm. We should focus on the farm. In Mubende, Madam Chair, we have Kaweri Coffee. Kaweri Coffee is a company. It can change directors. The farm remains Kaweri Coffee. So if we focused on the farm, whatever they want, they might really get it.
Madam, can I give some clarification?
Yeah, I'm going to allow you. I want to wait a bit. Most of our coffee farmers, Right Honourable, are simple,
Honourable members,
small.
can you separate yourselves, you?
Don't fight there. The Speaker has ruled. Right Honourable Speaker, in our setting, we have, even the coffee subsector, 80% or 90% are smallholders. These are not companies like Kaweri, but they are small. This is their chance. This law is giving a chance to these small farmers also to come on board. This is the right gist of this matter. And this is why, and the Honorable Nadal Mafabi knows that in some of these countries, including the chair here, my chair, that in some of these, somebody can sell 50 kilograms. Somebody can auction, can put on internet that I have 50 kilograms. I looked after my coffee like this. I handled it this way. I want this much. And she says, she or he says. So this is the gist. This is why we are bringing in this.
Okay, can I invite the chair to make her amendment?
Chair.
The Honorable Chair, please make your amendments. You have read some under 27. Please make your amendments.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. On clause 27, the committee proposes that we amend the provisions as follows. In paragraph C of subclause 3, by inserting the word sub-county, parish, and replacing or with an. And then we redraft the provision to read as follows. The name of the district, sub-county, parish, and village in which the coffee farm is located. Justification to be all-inclusive and for ease of traceability. The next amendment is to insert a new clause 6, to read as follows. For avoidance of doubt, registration of farmers shall be on a continuous basis. Justification, registration of farmers should be carried on out all the time in order to allow new farmers to come on board at any time. I beg to move.
Honourable members? Yes.
Madam Chair, I want to give a practical example. These new villages and sub-counties, what happened, there were farmers who were registered under a certain village and a certain sub-county and a parish. When the name changed, they took their coffee, it was rejected because they were saying that is not the village and the parish. And you are aware, in the current state, villages change every day and sub-county. How do you intend to cure the name of a village? The name, like, can we say that the village, as for purpose of this law, will be the village existing at the time of registration? Because we want to cure that to avoid farmers having a problem.
But,
Madam,
is there no...
Madam Chairperson, I think as registration goes on, even updating will be taking place. So I really see no problem there, Honorable Member.
And also, honourable members, once the villages have been changed, I think the Minister for Local Government informs us about the new areas.
Yes.
I think it's not a big issue. Put the question that clause 27 be amended as proposed. Those in favour say aye. The contrary, yes.
Madam Chairperson, before we pass, I beg that we delete clause 27, subsection 3E, following the clause that we already deleted. E.
Because we don't want those intending.
Because we are only considering the coffee farmers.
Okay, delete E. I put the question that clause 27 be amended as proposed. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 27 as amended.
Question is that clause 27 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 28.
Put the
Madam
question
Chairperson.
Clause 28, Honourable Chair.
Madam Chairperson, on clause 28, the committee proposes to amend the provisions as follows by substituting subclause 1 with the following. Where a farmer grows varieties of coffee contrary to the recommendation of the authority, B, neglects a coffee farm, or adulterates coffee the authority may, after considering the report of the extension officer and for the purposes of controlling the spread of pests and diseases and quality control, order that such coffee be uprooted or destroyed. Madam Chairperson, the other amendment is number 2, notwithstanding the provision of subsection 1, the authority may direct that a farmer whose coffee trees have been uprooted be deregistered. Justification is to act as a measure of controlling the spread of pests and diseases. Justification 2, for quality control and to provide clear terms and conditions for registration, which is lacking in the bill. I beg to move.
Yes, Honorable.
Madam Chair, we have no problem of deregistering a farmer who has a bad farm. That one we have no problem, we must agree. 2, pesticides which attack coffee not only come from coffee farms, and I hope the Minister of Agriculture is listening. Even the neighboring farm, even of Matoke, which are bad, with a bush, will attack a coffee what? A coffee farm. By the way, you know it, why? And 3, a coffee extension officer you're talking about is somebody not in the village. And what happens is that the person who can really justify why we should deregister somebody should be a village. That's why those years there was what you call a Mutala Kif, who was his purpose was to ensure that gardens of people are clean, and if they get your garden bushy, whether matoke, whether coffee, you will be arrested. So, Madam Chair, my amendment I want to move, which I would ask the Chair and the Minister to agree, is that first we must establish tribunals. Since you have mentioned in clause 27 that there will be a village, a parish, a sub-county, I want us to establish tribunals from village tribunal, sub-county, parish tribunal, and sub-county tribunal, where we'll be determining the case of farmers to be deregistered. Because those are the ones who work with the farmers on day-to-day basis. So, Madam Chair, when we establish that, then the LC1 in that area, who will be maybe the chair of the tribunal, will ensure that not only coffee gardens should be cleaned, but even the neighboring gardens in the farm area should be cleaned to avoid pesticides attacking the...
But I don't know whether that one... I don't know whether that one does not create new bodies and will offend Article 93. Tribunal to every village.
No.
Those are 68,000 tribunals. Then you have tribunals at the parish. Then tribunals sub-county.
Yeah. On the other hand, Right Honorable, this is a technical matter. So now, how long will it take to train these tribunals into being experts in... Really, the extension staff, the technical staff, is the one who knows the disease, they know the pests, they know this agronomy. I think they are in a better position, even to stand in court to talk about this. So to me, Right Honorable, I think the amendment by the chair is, by the committee.
Honourable members, I put the question.
Madam Chair.
Clause 28.
Madam Chairperson, under that clause 28, we have a new provision. The committee proposes that we insert a new provision after that clause 28 to read as follows. Re-registration. Any person who was registered as a coffee farmer and subsequently deregistered by the authority may at any time be re-registered with additional terms and conditions as the authority may specify. The justification is to give farmers a chance to be put back into the register in case their appeal is successful. I beg to move.
Madam Chair.
I think...
Madam Chair, I have a problem with 2, which says that a coffee farmer aggrieved by the decision of the authority made under subsection 1 may appeal to the minister. Madam Chair, that is too far for a farmer. I think that informs Honorable Nandala's proposal of creating tribunals. If the minister is suggesting that tribunals is a difficult proposal, we need a solution because the extension workers are going to become kings and they will treat farmers the way they want because they will say, I'll deregister you. Not until you have an appeal process that you know this is how we are going to handle the appeal process. Asking the farmer to go and look for the minister, it's a very, very difficult, it's a tall order. So we need a situation where we can have an appeal process. And I think that is why Honorable Nandala was proposing tribunals. In absence of tribunals, the minister should tell us how it should be handled.
Madam Chair,
farmers, but I will not forget that in the 7th Parliament, under the Land Act, we created tribunals and they never took off. For the whole country. They never took off, so I'm mindful of that.
What happens?
Even that gold must be looked after with other money.
In practice,
Article 93. Article 93.
In practice, Right Honorable,
Yes.
and honorable members, in practice what happens? Normally these functions are delegated by the minister. No, you can include all.
Okay.
Okay, let's add a sentence. Let's add some words.
No,
so
no.
that to delegate,
No.
so that we indicate delegation.
Honourable members, let us first deal with the proposals by the chair, if they are new ones. Because she made some proposals under existing 28, and she's proposing an additional clause under 28. Let's deal with that first. No. Are you objecting to her proposal? So let's deal with them first. Of the
Yes.
question that clause 28 be amended as proposed, those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
yes.
Ayes have it.
Madam Chair.
On 28.
Madam Chairperson.
Madam Chairperson.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
The clause on re-registration is after clause 28, a new clause after 28. I beg to move.
But you put it as 3. You wrote 3 there. So
I
for me
think
the presumption is that it is
was-
28, 1, 2, and 3.
It is another clause, right on, Madam Chairperson. I
Yes,
think
I'm
it was
saying-
just a typing error.
No, I'm saying that we have now added a new clause under 28, which is 3, which you have read.
Yes.
No, we have finished with the.
Madam Chair, the issue of the minister, Madam Chair, in 2. Madam Chair,
Honour
if-
members, where is the minister under 2?
28.2. Madam Chair, there is a big problem. It's a big problem, Madam Chair. We need to find a solution.
Can you propose? Do you want her to appeal the extension worker to the region or to where? do you want-
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
The way forward I'm proposing here is that ideally, when an act has been committed by the authority, you cannot appeal to the same authority. It will require you to go to a higher authority. Now, right now, Speaker, you have correctly guided. The way forward I'm proposing here that let this matter be delegated to the minister to come up with a regulation to guide on how the appeal process can be conducted.
Yes.
Honour Katusabe, let's hear from another coffee farmer.
Madam Chair, this issue we are dealing with is a very important issue because coffee is not like beans or maize that you can uproot it today and plant it and get it in just a few months. It is a crop that takes more than 4 years to yield from it. So somebody comes from anywhere and he comes and uproots your coffee. So that means you will take another 4 years to get an income from such a crop. We need to, when we are dealing with this law, we need to look at we need to look at realistic laws. So, Right Honorable Chairperson, I agree with the Honorable Nandala Mafabi that before you take a step to uproot someone's coffee, if you are a technical officer, at least you should call the LC chairperson and all the leaders of the village to warn the coffee farmer at least 3 times before you uproot, before you take a step. But if you leave our farmers to the hands of technical officers, I think it will not be fair to the farmers.
Honourable members, I know that the coffee farmers have a big interest, but let us focus. This is an appeal from the decision of the authority. Where do you want where do you want to go?
Yes.
Honourable members, we are 28. Honourable members, we are looking at clause 28.
Madam Chair, I propose that the appeal starts from the village up to, up to the national level. Because there is a farmer who cannot even go to the sub-county, but they are growing coffee.
Madam Chairperson, we are making a law, and some of these things are going to be captured under regulations. The processes for registration. Yes.
Madam Chair, the law should be clear from the start. This is a very, very important sector.
Now, honourable members, let us focus. We are dealing with deregistration. We are not dealing with uprooting coffee. No.
Madam, uprooting. Madam
If
Chair,
the authority, please, honourable members, please, look at clause 28. The head note is deregistration of coffee farmer. It is the authority, may after being satisfied that registered farmer, etc., it is the authority, the registering. So if you agree with the authority, where do you go? Do you want to go to the village? Where do you go?
Yes, Madam Chair, you have rightfully guided, because this is a situation where it's the authority dealing with this deregistration, and the next person up there is the minister. But Madam Chair, earlier on, we have given a provision for re-registration. So this will cater for the fear of honourable members. If you were deregistered because of ABCD, there is still another opportunity for you to re-register. So I don't know where our colleagues want from the authority to go after dealing with the authority.
Honourable members, I think you need time to look at the uprooting of the crops and also the registration. I want to...
Right Honourable Chair.
Actually.
Right Honourable Chair. Honourable members, if you can give way. Honourable members, if you can listen to this.
You are even...
Honourable members, let's agree on this. The authority, because we have been building this. Honourable Nandala.